Listen, I am as fair as it can be. I don't have a lot of dogs in the fight, and I just speak honestly with what I see. And I would say this to Houston, to the fighting Tylers, to the fans out there, to the Larrys, to the Tonys, to the Treys, to all of you out there.
Hold on, so.
How in the hell does it feel to have a legit Super Bowl contender as your football team? Because, in my opinion, this move puts them in the top 3 in the AFC. And if you're in the top 3 in the AFC, you are a legit Super Bowl contender. How does it feel, Houston, to be there? I cannot believe we are here after what we set through here for the first 3 years of us being here. But they are here going into the season with this addition and everything they have on this team right now. Clint, I believe this is a real Super Bowl contender.
I'm glad you started with that. I'm glad you started with the Texans instead of starting with Stefon Diggs, because to me that's the big statement that's being made here is more about the Texans and on two fronts, offensively and as an organization. I think it's loud and clear right now that the Texans viewed last year as, hey, we are well ahead of the curve. We have got to get aggressive. We've got to have a sense of urgency, and we've got to give ourselves a chance to win a Super Bowl, make a run at a Super Bowl for the next 4 years. Yep. Let's not be patient and wait around and see if we have enough and see if this guy works and see if that guy works and roll money over to next year and have this, a bunch of cap space left and sit here and see how many draft picks we can accumulate and how many guys we can develop. No, this organization has made a statement in free agency along with this trade that what they saw last year is a team that was legitimately a couple of pieces and ultimately talent short of being able to make a run at a Super Bowl and being able to compete with anybody in the league.
They saw what the hell they had in their young players,
Absolutely.
In particular their quarterback, had said, let's go.
I've seen enough. Let's go. And so the organization overall, I absolutely love it. That's the frame of mind of Nick Caserio, D'Amico Ryans, and company. Secondly, you look at the trade for Stefon Diggs and what this means offensively. You can couple it too with the signing of Joe Mixon. You can couple it as well with the re-sign of Dalton Schultz. You can couple it as well with the fact that you've got Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard, who I don't think anybody's going to argue their strength is definitely in pass protecting, not run blocking. This trade, accumulating talent, adding to the pass catching group with the Houston Texans, screams that this offense is going to run through C.J. Stroud. We are going to be a pass to set up the run team. We are going to be a heavy 11 personnel team, which means all three of these wide receivers and Dalton Schultz are going to be on the field with Joe Mixon in the backfield a lot. One tight end, one running back, and 3 wideouts. And we're going to go as C.J. Stroud goes. We're not going to be the organization that tries to build like San Francisco, because that's where D'Amico and Bobby Slowick came from, even though they talked about that last year and wanting to dominate the line of scrimmage and yada, yada, yada.
But, Clint, this move helps that, though.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely.
This is going to help Joe Mixon, too. This is going to help the guys up front.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to lighten that box up without a doubt. It's going to give you more space to run. It's going to give Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard and Shaq Mason and Juice Scruggs and whoever the hell the left guard is. It's going to give those guys a much clearer picture of who they block and how to block them.
Who is the left guard?
I don't know yet. But this move offensively screams we are going to be more of a Cincinnati Bengal-like offense versus a San Francisco 49er offense.
Same system.
And I absolutely love it. This C.J. Stroud, if you had to pick one guy, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's a close second if you talk about play style of the elite guys. Talk about play style of the elite quarterbacks in this league. He is most like Joe Burrow. And to build this offense and scheme in a Cincinnati Bengal-like way, in more of a spread fashion than what you see San Francisco doing, to me, is the right move. It's the smart move. It's playing to the strengths of your quarterback and your tight end who you just re-upped, your 2 tackles that you paid a boatload of money to, the running back that they traded for him, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man, I love the statement that's made about the organization, the sense of urgency. I love the statement this move makes about the offense and the direction of the offense being more Bengal-like than 49er-like. I absolutely love it.
All right, and before we get to some of the football stuff, and again more on what this means for the Texans and just the move, what the move means, I got to say this: I am really sitting here for almost 4 years watching this organization and watching some of the main decision makers. Fellas, I am really proud of Cal, Hannah, D'Amico, Nick, Caserio. I am really proud of them in this move because –
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. Is that Nick or is that Kevin? But McAllister, I don't know, Kevin. But to the point you're making, Clint, this is not their type of dude. Now, we've heard D'Amico talk about it a lot. We're looking for the right dudes to be in here. We're looking for the right guys in the locker room. And there are some fair concerns that I'm sure we will get to about the type of dude that you're bringing in. This is not, even for the Texans, even in the past, you all know this. This is not the type of dude that they would normally want to bring here. And this is a guy that is probably going to be a major voice on this team. I mean, they've put themselves in a situation. Their most veteran guys on the offense are Laramie Tunsil, Stefon Diggs, and Joe Mixon, who all have some baggage or some weirdness with their leadership style and their history. But damn it, sometimes you got to be and make moves and decisions that aren't comfortable, and sometimes you got to take risk. And they are taking a risk. They said, yes, we understand what could happen and how this could go, but we are going to take the risk because this is the time for us to go and try to win. This is a move on winning. This is a move on winning over being comfortable on what type of dude and people you're bringing in. They are willing to take the risk. And baby, some people may not get this one, but you can't just have a team full of Duncan Penderhuses. Sometimes you got to have some Blade Browns in there.
You got to explain that one.
If you haven't seen the movie Class Act, starring Kid and Play, you missed that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what percentage of our audience has heard it. You have to explain that one.
Well, you're right, but if you can get it, the goody two shoes of the Duncan Penderhuses,
the do-rights,
and the Blade Brown. Sometimes you got to can't have all them do-rights. Sometimes you got to have some people that might make you feel uncomfortable to get you where you need to get to. And the McNairs, D'Amico, Caserio said we are willing to take this chance because we know this is the thing that gives us the best chance to win. I give them credit for that. I'm proud of them because that is not an easy call, because they could have gone on and just said, oh, man, we'll get Tyler Boyd or we'll get somebody in the draft or we'll trade for somebody that's lesser. Nope. They said this right now is the best move we can make to get that difference maker on the offense, and they did it. So I'm proud of the McNairs and everybody here because this is not their normal type of guy that go. You hear how they talk about Will Anderson. You hear how they talk about C.J. Stroud. You hear how they talked about Danielle Hunter. You hear how they talk. Stefon Diggs carries a little different baggage. I'm not saying this is AB, but this is a guy that has complained, as someone texted, his way out of 2 organizations.
Speculate.
It has had issues, but they're willing to take a chance on this. I think that's a big move for them.
It could be a big move depending on what he does once he gets here. But the statement again, Ron, that's being made is important on this front too. And you just made it. Like to me, it's more of, hey, we are comfortable and confident in our foundation, our culture, and our leaders here in Houston that we will roll the dice a bit. Now, I don't know. Look, I don't know to what degree they're rolling the dice with Stefon Diggs. I know that from the outside looking in, it was always some kind of drama between him and the organization, him and the coach, him and the quarterback. I don't know what all that stemmed from. I know they won a lot of football games in Buffalo. I know he produced as well as anybody in the league in Buffalo. And so you wonder, can the guy ever be happy? But ultimately, I think it's more of a statement about DeMeco, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Nico Collins, the leaders in that locker room. I believe that they all collectively believe, hey, man, Stefon Diggs is a great player, and he may be a big voice as it pertains to being a leader. I have no idea what type of leader he is or isn't. But whatever he brings to the table, our locker room, the leaders on this locker room, our foundation and our culture is strong enough to overcome it and get through it, influence it in a positive way and get through it. So, we'll see all the details. The way I read Spotrac on contracts is that there's the contract that he had in Buffalo. There's an out after 2024. It's $18 million salary this year. There's an out after 2024.
You think they probably give him a new deal?
Well, that's to this conversation we're having right now is if it is a second-round pick for a one-year deal and for a great receiver and potentially being able to extend him, in the situation the Texans are in, I love it. Now you got to decide whether you're going to extend him or not. And if you extend him beyond this next year, I believe there was the 3-year extension. There was the out was before 3 more years on the contract. However you, I don't know what the right terminology is for that, but I guess my point overall is how the Texans play this. Do they re-up him now, extend him now? Do they wait until after the season to decide if they want to take on the next 3 years of the contract? Do they want to get out and renegotiate with him? I don't know exactly what they do, but as it pertains to the side of Stefon Diggs that is a problem, I'm less worried about it right now than I am because there's an out next year. You get 1 year. You gave him a second-round pick. You get 1 year with a great receiver. You're a squad that's ready to go compete for a Super Bowl. And worst-case scenario, you took that roll of the dice. The guy's a problem. You shake loose of him next year. You move on, right? Best-case scenario, he balls out. He buys in, balls out, and you re-up him. And you got a straight assassin at the wide receiver position to go along with your young guys. So – Ron, I got to see more of what they commit to.
Yeah, we'll see what they're going to do. They obviously have a plan with this. If they were going to give him a new deal, that probably was
part of the conversation.
Yeah. When you talk about the Diggs wild card fashion of it, you hope that the contract thing isn't something that kicks it right off to maybe bringing that if he is somebody who wants more money, which I'm sure he does.
Well, the way the contract is structured right now, Ron, if it moves with the player to the Texans, then, it could be a huge plus for both. It's a 1-year prove-it deal.
Really, yeah.
And if either one of us want out after this year, we can bounce.
Yeah, I think it's maybe $3 million is what that is guaranteed after this. All right, real quick, because I want to hear from the people on this. And this is a big day. I want to hear from the people as well. Clint, now when we look at from what the Texans did and what this signifies for you, I know it ain't all roses for you. What is your real feeling of the deal? Your feeling of the deal, football, and what this and what everything it could mean, adding a player like him and adding a personality like him.
Yeah, look, I think I'd be lying, and I think anybody would be lying if they didn't tell you that there were concerns that come with Stefon Diggs. The Bills, again, according to the reports that I saw, the Bills are going to end up eating $31 million to get rid of this caliber player. 31, 32, I think it was. Now, that's accelerated cap. That's money that had been pushed into the future that they already guaranteed him kind of deal. But anyway it goes, when you trade or cut a player, that money is accelerated to that year's cap, is my understanding. And so you got to ask, why would a team that is as wide receiver needy as the Buffalo Bills are, why would they accelerate the cap to get rid of what's viewed as one of the better receivers in this league? Right now, their receiver room is Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, and Mac Hollins. That's their 3 wide receivers.
You would think they're not punting on a season with Josh in his prime.
You would think not. They're right there. What's my man? Gabe Davis is gone, and now Stefon Diggs is gone. So you gotta wonder why an organization would ever make that decision with the caliber wide receiver that Diggs actually is. Again, I mentioned earlier that Diggs getting sideways with the quarterback and the head coach multiple times. It just always seems to be some kind of drama. It always seems to be the topic of conversation with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, if you'd have come to me a month ago and said, "Hey, man, what the Buffalo Bills? What's the first thing that comes to mind?" I would say the ruffling of feathers between Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs. And I vividly remember McDermott having to come to the media and talk about Stefon Diggs. I remember Stefon Diggs' brother in Dallas tweeting stuff about Stefon not being happy. And so I think that's part of what comes with him to some degree, any way you slice it. And then, you look at the last 11 regular season games last year and then the 2 playoff games, 13 total games. He had 3 total touchdowns and did not go over 100 yards one time. So you got to wonder, hey,
Josh Allen as his quarterback.
With Josh Allen as his quarterback, and
him being the number 1 threat.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so you got to wonder, like, hey, what happened? What happened on that back half of the year? Now, I'm not one, as people know, I'm not one to look at that and say, hey, this guy, Father Time, jumped on his back. Now, I believe that when they changed offensive coordinators, I think that offensive coordinator before was probably succumbing to some of the pressure of Stefon Diggs' expectations and him wanting the ball. And then Joe Brady took over and said, no, we're going to do whatever the hell we need to do to win games. I don't give a damn if you get 100 yards and get your touches or not. And so it led to a different style of offense than feeding Stefon Diggs is what I would be willing to bet you that it was, more so than Father Time. But nonetheless, that is what happened. Facts are the facts. I mean, he had a rough 13-game stretch.
That's a lot of games.
Yes, when you're talking about a Stefon Diggs caliber receiver, he had a rough stretch of 13 games there, and
had a couple of drops in their playoff.
Sure, big drop in the playoff games, big as they've had in a handful of years. And so you got to look at that and go, okay, what happened? Why did that fall off happen? Why did he not contribute to a team that was good enough to go two rounds deep?